Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and Happy New Year! Hey, welcome to 2025 and the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Graham Media Network. Yay! Boom! That'll give you a little extra to get the year started off to a good start, let's say, because I think we're going to need it based on if you are people who are listening on podcast only do not know this yet, but this was a take two because for some reason when I logged in today, for some reason I was logged in under Mr. Grizzly settings. So I had his background and I had his camera settings and there were three of me to choose from and I didn't know where to look. And I don't know, but starting off 2025 with three of me might be a little much. So we took it. We, we did a take two on this one. So you're getting the good stuff. Everybody here who's watched live got to see us start 2025 tripping over the first hurdle. So yay. Which I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, I'm happy to say, because he wasn't with me when I had my false start, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Happy New Year to you, good sir.
Happy New Year. I'm
Ooh.
a little tired. I was up at 5 and said, this is too bloody early and went back to sleep. And then woke up at 7 and looked at the clock and said, I don't have to be anywhere till 8:30. So I went back to sleep again. And then I just woke up like 10 minutes ago. So I'm not fully awake yet.
Uncover said that on the other one, I sounded like a beaver who had too much coffee. I believe it is. Or maybe not enough. Who knows? I am doing surprisingly well this morning, considering that 2024 ended like 2025 started. Last night, we did have plans originally to go to a house party, but for reasons that had to be postponed. And we decided that we were going to go see Wicked instead.
So how was it?
We don't know.
Oh. Did you see it?
Well, no, we got there. We were sitting in the theater. We had our popcorn. We had our soda, and the movie. The preview started, and my beaver sweeties were like, the colors look like they're a little off, and they were like washed out and muted. But I thought it was like the style of the previews and stuff that they were showing us, and because Wicked, the Wizard of Oz, right? You're expecting bright Technicolor pop,
Right.
vibrant, like Barbie was, like bright colors, right? So, so he goes and talks to the people. Says, "Is there something wrong with the image? Because everything seems a little muted." So the movie starts, and everything is muted. Like, if you see the poster of the movie, Glinda's pink dress is, even more pink than the shirt you're wearing. And no, we did not coordinate today. Kids and Cubs. Um, and it was barely rose. And then it's playing and like the music, the sound seems a little low, but okay, there's going to be some action and the score is going to come up at some point. So maybe that's just the starting level. And then the first song plays and like the theater is not filled with sound. It's like it's just coming from the front and it's really low. So we're sitting there like, what's going on there? So they do stop it and they adjust the color so that it is brighter, more vivid, but it's still too dark. It doesn't have the right brightness. And then they started again, and we were about a good 15 minutes into the movie when it stopped. And then they were gonna at first they were gonna rewind it just a little bit, and people were going, "Well, I mean, shouldn't you just like rewind it so we get like the full experience?" And they did.
Mm.
And then there was no audio.
So
The audio
they had a hard
vanished.
drive? 'Cause they're not film canisters anymore. They're actually
No.
hard drives.
And that's what we were talking about. It's like, gee, remember the good old days of analog when there was somebody in the booth at the whole time and somebody would like splice and tape it together if he needed to, but the show would go on unless
Not happening.
So we got 2 passes for free entry, well, to go see movies again at some other point. And then we came back home and we sort of cobbled ourselves a New Year's together. But it took us 3 chances to get New Year's Eve
And you still
down.
haven't seen the movie.
And we still haven't seen the movie. It's the perfect exclamation point on the year. I wasn't even mad. I was just like,
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
of course. Of course, 2024 would go on like that. Sure.
Yeah,
I saw
exactly.
this comic it's like 2024 sitting on a counter and there's a little cat looking at it and it's like the cat like just like taps it and it falls off the counter and it's like, good kitty. Extra tender vittles for you today.
Gently used 1998.
So I'm not sure if I said it, but big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We are there is a little bit of news, and of course there's some tragic news out there as Kit Uncover has shared. Unfortunately, 'tis the season for certain people to want to ruin it for the rest of us. Let's put it that way, and in the worst possible ways. There were incidents in Germany and other incidents. So it's we don't want to not acknowledge that, but we also want to get the year started off positively. So there'll be other days for that if there are developments. Today, Kids and Cubs, we are going to take a little look back on the year past. Maybe I'm ambitiously saying maybe at the year ahead, and please let us know if what it is that you have done to ring in the new year and what your thoughts are for the year ahead here in the chat if you manage. But yeah, it's or if you're willing, of course. But it's a start to a new year, and we always, as Anna Green Cable says, it's a bright new day with no mistakes in it yet, fresh. So, that's the way we can look at it. Even though, as Mr. Grizzly said yesterday, it's just another day. Also, at the same time, any day is a good day to decide on a fresh start. So, without doing it's the first and I have to do it. And, here's my resolution. It's pressure, like this. If today, just like any other day, you say, hey, it's time to turn over a different leaf here, just do something different, more of something, less of something. There's nothing wrong with that either. I don't particularly have any resolutions for this year. I don't know if you do, Mr. Grizzly.
No, my resolution is sort of the same one. It's always been just try and be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
every year.
Pretty
Same
much.
thing. Just try and be a better person. That's all. And I succeed at that more than I fail. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping to that was always on the list, but sometimes, I've resolved to make no resolutions this year, and I'm not in that sort of mode this year, but it's kind of weird. I mean, we should all have something, but I just don't have anything other than, uh, I guess maybe just, continuing on trying to get back to center because as everybody knows, 2024 was a bit of a wild year.
Mhm.
A bit of a wild year for both of us, actually. We've been through a lot this year. So,
Certainly.
yeah, stuff that was destabilizing. Just finding the center again. Things are. I'm happy to report on our end getting better, but finding center, I don't feel like I have. I feel like I have more bandwidth
Mhm.
when stuff is happening that it doesn't feel overwhelming, but I still don't feel like I'm super eager to take on anything new at the moment
Mm.
either. I'm kind of sort of I thought about it and I think I need still yet a bit more time off and rest in order to not rejoin the race and quickly burn out.
Right.
Right? You have to manage your resources. So, but in that sense, I have a feeling that 2025 will be a better year for me. I also was thinking, you know, somebody had posted, and it's something I see often. You're going to see a lot of people talking about all their accomplishments of 2024. And, for some people, it has statistically, it had to have been a good year for some people.
Yeah. Somebody
So,
somewhere has had a good year.
had a good 2024.
What me?
So, so, but remember, sometimes uh, I got through 2024 is the accomplishment,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
So, um, when we're doing that, comparing ourselves to each other, particularly on social media, which, causes a lot of people have issues. Remember that everything has a context. This year, I was thinking, that would be me. And I thought back, I was like, no, I do have some accomplishments, not as many as I would have in a normal year. That's fine, but still plenty of accomplishments for a year,
Mhm.
especially a year that had everything thrown at me. So, but I was looking at it a little bit, um, not negatively, but sort of, probably not one of the better years. Not one of my most accomplished. Not maybe not so much achievement or growth. And then I thought about it. It's like with all the stuff we've been through, the fact that I am still giggling and smiling and laughing, and I cried. Don't get me wrong, off camera, I've cried, but giggling, smiling, laughing, wanting to show up every morning, just take on life. Um, Although there's been one or 2 days where I ended the day early and pulled the blanket over my head and said, "Yeah, that's it. That's done. 6 p.m. That's enough for today." Um, that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a win. There was growth because I was, when you have years where you've been particularly tested and you've gotten through the year without a criminal record or or blown a hole in your budget or gained 175 pounds from emotional eating in the space of 2 months, you've done good.
175 pounds in 2 months. Holy shit, dude.
I'm I'm
Did you eat a human?
I'm of course exaggerating, but sometimes when I have nights like last night, you just happen to dip into the box of turtles that you got for Christmas, and it becomes like chain smoking. They just
Mm.
go down one after the other because they're so tasty. Sorry, you might want to take over right now. I'm having a moment, Mr. Grizzly.
Do you need some time alone? Should
I
I?
might.
Do I need to take you off camera here? Or is it supposed to get a little spicy for YouTube? I mean, there are limitations to YouTube, right? And any spicy things, they
I
take you
remember
off.
somebody was posting a tweet yesterday. He said, "You never try to like put a covered sheet on king size bed, and by the time you're done, you're all like sweaty and stuff like that." And it's like, oh God, gee, I've wrestled with a king size sheet fittings and all that kind of stuff so much that after I've needed a post-coital cookie, it's been tough, man. I'm small, man. Those king size beds are big. I'm like stretched over. See. All right. Kits and cups. This is good. All right. 2024. A lot happened. Like way too much. Way too much. I was going through our episode descriptions over the past little while and just like looking through stuff, and it's like, when I was trying to think on my own, I was thinking, oh well, there's not really that much stuff, because in one way there wasn't that much stuff because there were some big themes, right? Affordability was an issue all throughout the year. Whatever Pierre is doing in his attempt to become prime minister, that was an undercurrent all year. Would we be getting that TV president again south of us? That was a theme all throughout the year. Israel, Gaza, we hit 1,000 days of war. That was a theme throughout the year. 1,000 days of war, sorry, that was Ukraine, Russia, but Israel, Gaza, still, right? And what's been happening, civilly in Canada as a result of that.
The amount of flack we took on October 7th for not highlighting the 1-year anniversary of the attack was...
We highlighted it the next day.
Yeah.
Because we only had like 30-something minutes that day.
We only had a limited amount of time and the amount of people. And it's like we weren't going to cram it in with a 5-minute thing. And I guess some people just did not care for that. I'm like, oh, we can't do everything for everyone. We can't be everything for everybody. We try real hard to please everyone, but we know we can't. So there's somebody somewhere is going to be pissed off about something at all times.
All right. But I mean, I can understand someone being upset about that. I mean, I'm not going to begrudge someone. I would.
No.
But I would have hoped.
Yeah.
I would have hoped that if this was, if these were people that had been listening to us for a while, that they knew that we would get to do it.
Some folks just didn't.
We wouldn't let it go by without a mention.
Yeah. Some folks just didn't allow that. So, but hey, that's fine. It's a free world. It's a free country.
And tensions and emotions and feelings are high.
Oh yes.
So there's no taking personal offense. But especially since on this show we don't always necessarily do the hot take. Sometimes we will wait a day or two to see how certain things develop or pan out. So it's not odd for us to not do something on the day. Right? We curate and we analyze news. We're not technically the daily news report, right? In the sense, like if you want to know everything that happened on that day, like sometimes we'll go back a couple of months. Sometimes we'll focus on just one topic. Sometimes we'll bring a lot of things. Sometimes we'll follow a topic over a certain number of days. It's, we try to bring you news, but we don't necessarily organize it in a way that a newscast would do it in the time-sensitive manner that a newscast would do it. Unless we have the luxury.
We're not journalists.
But we also have the luxury.
YouTube. Yeah.
Because if you want the up to the minute what happened just right now, everybody else is doing that. They got far bigger budgets. Our ability to sit back a little bit and let a little something wash over and then bring you some news, a little context or whatnot, that's a little more complete as a package the first time we bring the subject to you. I think that there's some value in that as well. So this year, if we're looking internationally, various, I don't want to say celebrities, but we're talking politics. Doesn't necessarily have to be politicians, but it can be political actors, right? Because you have multilateral organizations and that type of stuff, and national and not international not-for-profits and that kind of stuff. So this year, when I'm thinking about those who are among the best people we can look up to, there is the new Secretary General of NATO, Mr. Rutte, who was once the leader of the Netherlands. We have the outgoing president of the Republic of Georgia. I know, I don't know why that's happening to your camera. Of the Republic of Georgia, who, even though her role was pretty much ceremonial, stood up to what's going on right now with the election, suspected election rigging in that country, and took a stand stating that she was not going to cooperate in any way with trying to bring in that new administration. Of course, she had limited powers, did what she could, but she still stood up against it. And then the president of Poland, because they're just ready to go.
At a moment's notice.
They're leading the charge. We have the president of Finland, or the prime minister of Finland, I should say, in this case, because, again, Finland is letting it be known very clearly to Putin, don't even think about it.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
And you don't want to mess with the Finns, they'll fuck you up.
And Russia seems to be well aware of that, because there's no incursion into Finland at all. Like, at all. And Finland is a small nation. It's, 4 million people, but don't mess with the Finns. They will hand your head back to you, and do so with a smile.
They literally just said, oh yeah? You're worried about more NATO on your border? Here, Father Mucker, here's more NATO on your border.
Yeah.
And they just seized one of those little, those ships, the shadow ships that was apparently, it seems, dragging anchor across the bed and cutting those cables. So they got one. Yeah. Don't mess with the Finns. They're not having it.
No,
they're not having it. So those were sort of like my top picks for anybody international. Did anybody catch your eye, Mr. Grizzly?
Well, nationally, I thought this little cartoon from yesterday.
Okay.
Share this right now. This is a cartoon from yesterday, which I thought is very, very 2024 growth chart. Pierre Poilievre. He's at the level of petty performative partisan hack, and he's well below the prime ministerial. I thought that was good. I thought that was good.
Okay. But on the international scene,
internationally, I would say, Scheinbaum. President of Mexico.
Yes.
Who is kicking ass and taking names, and basically said, when they asked her, what are you going to do about Trump and his tariffs, and this, she goes, well, he's not in office yet, so I'm not saying or doing a damn thing. I've got a country to run. We'll get to that when we have to. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I think that's the right approach. Unlike our premiers across the country who are trying to negotiate, and now Kevin O'Leary thinks he can negotiate on behalf of Canada, which, go to hell, Kevin O'Leary. Like, literally, get in a canoe and paddle to hell.
Don't pay someone to do it for you. Do the work yourself. Yes, I saw what you did. I saw what you did there.
Fin du mot? Beer? Fin du mot?
La fin du monde?
Yeah, that's the beer where they have the three guys in the canoe paddling to hell.
Canoe. Oh, yeah, La Chasse-Galerie.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, from the legend. Timely, too, because that's a New Year's legend, isn't it?
Not bad.
Look at you working the layers in.
There are layers. There are layers.
Look at 100 beaver points.
Yeah, thank you.
That is definitely, wow. That is some level that's Canadiana and history and culture mixed in with dang, you were Mr. Grizzly off to a good start this year.
Picking horse coffee.
There you go.
My mom yesterday, my mom and dad came by for a visit, and my mom's like, do you need anything? I'm like, no, I'm fine. She goes, do you need some coffee? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm out of
I
coffee. But
always
no,
need
let
coffee.
me get you some coffee. I'm like, okay. So sure enough, my mom shows up with like paper towels, toilet paper, Kleenex, coffee, tea, ham. Like I'm like,
Ham.
oh yeah, ham. Yeah. What else? Some frozen chicken cutlets and like a whole bunch of stuff. She's like, here you go. I'm like, well, thanks, Mom. So she goes, here, I don't know if this coffee's any good. And she hands me a bag. And I'm like, oh, Mom, that's really good coffee. Because I buy it by the bean and grind it, right? I find it fresher that way. But I tend to buy, the Farm Boy, the cheapest one I can find. You can get the 2 kilo bag from Farm Boy for like $20, whereas the 500-gram bag from Kicking Horse is $20. So I don't buy it. So she's like, is this any good? I'm like, oh no, Mom, that's really good coffee. Thank you. Yeah. So my mom and dad came by for a little visit for a little bit yesterday. And of course, Lola went bananas because she loves them. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Okay. Jay Crick, Skippy's all peanuts and no butter. Oh, I love that. You know what? I'm handing out beaver points today. 50 beaver points. That's good. I like that. All right. But it's up to you to keep track of your tallies for the year because I don't have a scorecard. We're working on the honor system.
How
However
do we
many points
redeem
you
the
say
points
you
again? What do we redeem the points for?
got.
Goodwill?
I haven't thought that out yet. Actually, I haven't thought it out that far. I'm just
You're handing
handing
out
out
points, and we don't know what we're going to do with them.
Sometimes I am just a pretty face. All right. All right. Also on the international scene, those who disappointed us, I controversial for among certain listeners, of course, but I would have to say among them, Prime Minister Netanyahu has disappointed us this year. We know not everyone will agree with that sentiment, but at least for me, I found that to be the case. I don't. This is, I'm sure, quarterbacking. I don't know if there could have been a better way. I would like to believe that there was. But considering the sheer number of people, even allies, that have been asking him to, dude, maybe not. And he did it anyway. And the ICC warrant for his arrest.
Yeah.
Right. But then again, what if you believe that there's genocide being committed against you? And in this case, both sides are claiming this. How far do you get to go in defending yourself? Becomes the question. And
Yeah,
it is so sticky. So again, not being an expert, but it seems that if someone went so far that even the ICC says, maybe there might be something to look at there. Also, of course, perennial on the list, Mr. Putin.
Yeah.
Sorry. The candidate in Romania who won the first round, but then had to have, but then had, for which the results were annulled. George Skukalin, who just sort of came out of nowhere and had primarily a TikTok and social media campaign. That turns out might have gotten a lot of help from other nations. But that one's scary because you can actually now just be anyone that pops out of anywhere, run a social media campaign, nobody's heard of you. And if you have the right backers, you could pick up about 25%, 26% of the vote
Mm-hmm.
and then become a thing. That's not earning it. That's not going out and talking to people and finding out what their concerns are. It's just a marketing campaign.
Mm.
That's frightening. And maybe coming soon. Going to put PM Harper there, former PM Harper, as head of the IDU. This year, he seems to have his thumbs in a lot of pies. And of course, probably the person that's been surprisingly most talk about if we were looking last year to this year, but the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi.
Yeah.
So those would be my sort of the big ones that picked up my attention. I'm surprised that I don't have the president of Argentina there because I thought he would have been a shoo-in, but and don't get me wrong, things are terrible down there. But for some reason, he's not making the news. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Thought we'd hear a lot more stories about him. Do you have anybody internationally that you said, nope?
Big newsmaker for this year internationally? Well, like I said, Scheinbaum, but unfortunately.
But more on the disappointed side.
Oh, the disappointed side. Wow.
Yeah.
Where do I begin?
There's a lot of them.
The UK, the US, India, again, South Korea.
Yeah, declare martial law on your people. Come on.
I mean,
overnight.
Hungary, it just goes on and on. Oh, and I said Scheinbaum, but also let's go back to Syria and their new.
Yes.
His name is escaping me at the moment. But the guy who rid the world of the Syrian regime of Assad and sent him packing to Moscow, and has now handed the country back to her citizens, and actually wants to have a democratic union where people count. And he's like, we have to set aside our petty religious squabbles and learn to get along with one another. Again, he's saying and doing all the right things. So from a positive end, that's him and Scheinbaum are, I think, for myself personally, from the positive end of things, they're the two biggest newsmakers of the year for me. Scheinbaum, just because of the way she's doing things, and this gentleman, because, he rid the world of the Assad regime and handed Syria back to her citizens, and at the same token has said, we're going to get along. It's not going to be a theocratic nation. It's going to be a democracy. And he's dismissed all of his former Al-Qaeda sort of ideologies because he came to the realization of it won't work. It won't work. Thank you, Saucy Sea Witch. Ahmad Al-Shara. Ahmed.
Yes.
It's pronounced Ahmed, correct?
I believe so.
Yes, there's no C, but it's pronounced Ahmed. Ahmed Al-Shara.
Ahmed Al-Shara. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. Yes. He wants to hold elections. He wants to do things correctly. I'm like, well, I got to dig on that. I mean, my goodness, there it is. It could take up to 4 years. This is holding elections could take up to 4 years. So that's a clickable link for those of you who want to click that link in the chat. Saucy Sea Witch put that up for us. So thanks, Rihanna. Appreciate that. I think, he's the big newsmaker in my mind. Now, as for negative, like I said, where to begin? My goodness. There's just, the list is long. Well, Putin, he's always up at the top there. Of course, Assad, he's always up at the top.
Yep.
Like I said, South Korea, what took place there, the UK, what's been going on there. Internationally still, but I'm going to say in Canada, the leader of the opposition, who just continues to disappoint on a daily basis and disappoint and demean. I don't know if you saw his video he put out yesterday, Wacko.
That's not a video. That's just propaganda.
That's complete propaganda. And it's beneath the office he holds, the position he holds. It's well beneath him. It's like, dude, get the fuck out of the House of Commons. That has no place in our government. Behavior like that? No, absolutely not. I watched about 2 minutes of it and I'm like, I can't even deal with this. It's about as realistic as Dinesh D'Souza's, what was it, 200 Mules or whatever the hell it was called, which was a complete foul.
Yes, and he just recently admitted or something, like they
Yeah.
lost something in court or something.
He said, yeah, no, it's all made up. We made it all up.
Yeah.
Presenting fiction as fact. Stop that. Stop it. And we need reporters. And I spoke to Bridget about this yesterday, and she says, you're not the only guys calling out Poilievre's lies. I said, I never said we were. She's like, the Tyee, and I go, yes, but I'm talking mainstream media. The Tyee is a big media channel for sure, but it's not CBC, CTV, Global.
Yeah, it's still not legacy
Exactly.
media now, we should say, more than mainstream.
Legacy, yes, correct. Let's go with legacy media. Legacy print and broadcast media is not calling out as lies.
No.
There are many folks in media that are, but legacy is not doing it. So who are they beholden to? And that's the part that troubles me, that because the biggest audience in the country is not getting to see the truth. He's not getting called out for his lies by the largest audience in the country. And the largest audience is the legacy media. Now, that shift is changing with Gen Z, of course, and Gen Alpha, which is the new one to come along. But Gen Z is going to be voting age very soon. Many of them already are. So how does that play out in the next election? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because we all assumed that Gen Z would be much more progressive, given that they all have friends there, but they also want a house one day.
Exactly. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, indeed. All right. And for the international, the last little thing that I had was people who were underappreciated this year. And again, some of these might be a little controversial because they're trying to push them out the same way that Trudeau's being pushed out. But Macron and Schultz, the leaders of France and Germany, who are not necessarily doing a terrible job, but just word in general, kick the bums out sort of type thing. So they're getting it. The leader of Belgium, because right at the end of the year, the vaping thing and the laws regulating sex trade work. And on that, by the way, I was talking to Miss Emily from the Muse Spa, and we will be doing. I will have a conversation with her about that type of thing and what the status of that here is in Canada.
Excellent,
right?
Excellent.
Because we've been wanting to have her on. Exactly, we've been wanting to have her on for a while, and this is sort of this story sort of creates an opening to talk about this type of subject. So, it's like every subject, everything is politics, kits and cubs, and there's politics to that too. And we're going to go in there and explore it with somebody who actually has some knowledge of the industry. So there you go. But yeah, what's the leader of Belgium sort of making a stand within the EU that seems to be turning a little more right, taking up the stance on these type of topics, and picking up the baton and running with it. So we like that. Here's one that's going to surprise you. Mitch McConnell.
Okay, please continue. I am surprised.
Because he's about the only one that's doing anything to thwart that TV precedent. He's still in the Senate. He's not but he's not the leader anymore, which means he's kind of free to do a little more than what he wants. And he doesn't like Trump at all. He's still fighting to save the party somehow. So he denied Trump his choice for leader of the Senate. And there's a lot of things that are going to have to get through the Senate, but they have a very slim majority. And McConnell has the sway to pull 3 or 4 votes.
Well, look, I don't like Mitch McConnell. He's done a lot of terrible things throughout his life as a politician. I'll preface it with that. However, he, like Mike Pence, still believe in actual democracy. To a degree. I mean, to what degree? I don't know. To a degree, they actually believe in democracy. And and Pence especially so, because he was the one who certified the election. And Trump and his supporters wanted to bring him to the gallows pole for that. for doing his job in protecting democracy, protecting the republic. So, Trump is not a president. He is not a leader. He just wants absolute ultimate power. He's beholden to Putin. We know this. There's what was it? There's sanctions against Russia and India for interference in the 2024 election. Executive order just issued by President Biden. So, yeah, somebody had a conversation with me online back and forth about, they were very happy that Trump won. And they're like, how's that make you feel, you libtard cuck? I'm like, it's just creating content for me. So, and it's not my country. So I feel bad for people who are going to be harmed by it, but it doesn't directly affect me. And the democratic process apparently looked like it worked. People voted. Now, if there was some interference there, that's up to somebody else to deal with, not me. Same when he discovered I was Canadian, this same individual goes, oh yeah, well, what are you going to do when Pierre Poilievre wins? I go, again, the democratic process will work. And if he gets elected, if his party wins a majority and they form parliament and he becomes the prime minister, that just means 5 years of content for me.
And working.
He was trying to get under my skin.
He doesn't get renewed.
He was trying to get under my skin, but you can't get under my skin because I have no control over it. What am I supposed to take it personally when the party that I voted for didn't win? No, that's the process. That's how it works.
That's why we're in this mess, because you guys take it way too personally when you don't win. It's like, we don't demoralize, we organize.
Yes. I'm like,
I mean, it's just, and we take our shot the next time.
Yeah.
It's like, and in the meantime, we try to shore up because we know that there's a shit storm coming. We just try to weather the storm and organize. That's all that happens.
Hilarious when they go, oh, are you going to cry? Why would I cry? For what? The process worked. The people voted, and this is who they elected. I accept the results. That's how it is.
People have a constitutional right to make a choice that I don't think is wise.
And we support that constitutional right. We will tell you made a bad choice and we're all going to suffer for it.
Because we have the constitutional right to say that.
Yeah. Well, it was
everybody has the right.
When Danielle Smith was elected in Alberta, I go, well, there's content creation for us. I mean, come on. She writes it for us. All we do is just comment on what she says and does.
Oh, my word. Yep. And then
we could dedicate this program to her alone if we
wanted to.
But
fortunately, Nate's doing that already. So,
well, 5 days a week we could, but we're not going to do that. Though. But
no, but she produces enough. Yeah,
she does.
She produces enough.
Ford, same thing. There's just so much news to curate and create content thereof that we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. The last person I have on that list for the underappreciated is almost the flip side of Mitch McConnell, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she recently ran to serve as the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, and she lost 131-84 to a 74-year-old white man.
Awesome.
Most effective communicator they have. Everybody wants to put Fox News wants to put her on their screen all the time. His guy, Biden's gone. You run with Kamala. Perfect opportunity to keep turning that page. But no, you still stick with the old white guy. Like, not even a young white guy. At least this generation, it's like you're still trying to appeal to 25-year-olds, trying to get them to vote by putting 74-year-old. When it's been about 50 years that you've been somewhere in the same lived experience as someone else, and maybe 20 of them have been spent as an elected representative, and you're living a whole other life, and have been for a while, you might not be able to speak or relate or come across like you do, even if you can. Not everybody can be Bernie.
No, definitely not.
It's not impossible. But
I got to grab another coffee. I'll be right back.
come on, man. So she is qualified. Ugh. So yeah, those would be among my most underappreciated out there. So let's see, kits and cubs, if you have anything to say about this. I'm looking through the chat here. Nope, not yet. Don't see anything. Okay, then I will continue. We have talked about international. Now, let's get to the juicy stuff. National. Mr. Grizzly's tipped his hand a couple of times there. But national. This this year, interestingly enough, my selections for the best, some of them won't surprise you, but some of them will. Because if you've been following the show, we've talked about them several times. So, best politicians nationally, Leah Gazan from the NDP, again this year. Just the red dress alert thing. She's private. She's a member of the fourth party, and she gets private members' bills passed. She was also on the standing
Committee of Women.
standing committee of women.
And stepped down because
Yeah.
of the debacle brought about by
Yeah.
Michelle Ferrari.
Yep. So an overall great constituency MP
Mhm.
who has more legislative accomplishments.
Than Pierre Poilievre. And he's been there
From the
20
fourth
years.
party. Yeah.
He's been there 20 years.
So if she's representing you, she deserves re-election. Elizabeth May this year,
Yeah.
coming for Pierre,
Really.
being the first to go get her security clearance, leading the charge on this. Again, making news from the fifth party.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah.
Right? Sean Fraser.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Yep. And going out on a high, too.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Setting himself up really well to become a premier of Nova Scotia in 2028.
Which might be likely because not only do his constituents love him, but I think a lot of people in the province like him too.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him being premier of Nova Scotia if he so chooses to go down that path. Maybe he gets out of politics. We don't know. It's up to him to determine, and whatever choice he makes, and good luck, man, because you've done a great job with the file. You're one of the few people who stands up in the House of Commons, other than the Prime Minister, and calls out Poilievre to his face, which I happen to love.
Yep. Probably a biased choice on our part, but also deserved. Senator Brazeau.
Oh, yes. No, once again, doing the good work.
Of all the senators out there, there's two that we keep on hearing about over the course of the year. He's one with his push for what he's doing to help with labeling with regard to alcohol, and I believe that he has another aspect on it now having to do with advertising that he announced earlier.
There's
in the year
7 types of cancer that directly related to alcohol consumption. So.
And then the other one is Senator Kim Pate, with her push for UBI in the Senate. Leah Gazan was doing the push for the UBI in the House of Commons, by the way, which unfortunately failed.
Sadly.
But that was another thing that she was doing to add that to her list why she's on this. And coming in at the end of the year, Mr. Charlie Angus.
Coming in hot at the end of the year.
Like Charlie Angus with no fucks left to give. It's my kind of Charlie Angus.
Yeah. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit.
We see the punk rocker.
Yeah.
Charlie Angus has gone punk again. I like it.
Oh yeah.
I like it a lot.
Kicking ass and taking names and not giving a shit.
I mean, I know he said he's retiring for politics, but so did Nate Erskine Smith. And if this is the Charlie Angus that we would get with Charlie Angus as leader of the NDP, Charlie, don't go.
No. No, please stay. Please stay. I mean, he's
Please
already
stay.
vocally come out and said he is not voting non-confidence in when the House raises or sits again, because he says he doesn't want to see Pierre Poilievre
Mhm.
as prime minister because he knows how dangerous the guy is.
So, if we suspect that, following this election, Mr. Singh will probably be asked to leave if he doesn't step down himself. You're making a very, very, very good case for yourself right now, Mr. Angus. Just saying. Well, I mean, if we're in this area of keep it real and don't speak like a politician, I mean, Charlie Angus, he's punk rock, man.
Yes.
It's like they're political
literally is
and they
punk
don't
rock.
speak like politicians.
Yeah. What
Right.
Saucy Sea Witch is saying here, we need more progressives in politics who don't give a shit about playing the game. The Conservatives certainly don't.
Exactly. So that's among my best on the national scene. Who did you have anybody, Mr. Grizzly?
Well, I'm gonna Senator Brazeau, Leah Kazan, Charlie Angus, of course, but Karina Gould.
See, I had her on my underappreciated list. So clearly you appreciate her enough.
Well, and Melanie Jolie for that matter. Both those two women are just take no prisoners.
Yeah.
And Karina Gould comes across as this, she's a millennial.
Mm-hmm.
She's a member of Parliament, the first millennial member of Parliament who is also a mom. She gave birth while in office.
Yes.
And has, I think, since now, she has 2 children?
Yes, she's done it twice.
Yes. So since her second child, she's kind of come out a little bit more with the dukes up, ready to fight. That's what I've seen. She's getting more screen time in the House and in question period, and is become a fierce matriarch in the sense that she's not going to let anybody get away with anything.
Yeah, we're seeing some mama bear.
Yeah, we really are. And I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for it.
Serve that up. I like that. So, yes, she on my list of the most underappreciated, I had Karina Gould because she's been doing really well and deserves much more profile than she's getting. I also put Karen Vecchio from the Conservatives on my underappreciated list because she was done dirty.
Mm-hmm.
She was done super dirty.
Yes.
I mean, very appreciated by her peers.
Yeah.
On the Status of Women Committee, very underappreciated by her own damn party, who took her away from that position. A committee that was working well that the Conservatives decided they needed to change the leadership of. I wonder why. The people that say Canada is broken took the one committee that was working well and made sure it wouldn't.
Yeah. What does that tell you?
Okay. Interesting. So, and controversially, probably, I'm going to put the Prime Minister on the list of the most underappreciated because, listen,
you're not being ridiculous.
I can get that you have fatigue and all that kind of stuff. 9 years, long time to see the same face. I get that he has some rhetorical style that can come across as, I'm Justin Trudeau and I am better than you. And I urge you all to be better like me. I get that. I get that could be off-putting. I get it. Don't get me wrong. But the dude actually survived Trump and COVID and engineered the soft landing. And is actually reducing the GHG emissions and removed the great majority of boil water advisories and is set us up economically to do well for the economy of the future with EV plants and battery plants and bringing virologics and vaccines back to the nation and setting us up in the AI while still bolstering our aerospace and robotics. And and built the pipeline at great personal political cost
Yes.
to himself.
Where the oil is now flowing, by the way.
Yes, and the province of Alberta is crowing about how well they're doing.
Yeah.
And why are you? It's like, and why can't
Not
Johnny
gonna do
read?
it.
And why
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
doing well? It's like, So, I get the whole other side though. Seeming arrogance. Michael Diader had a cartoon the other day that was exactly what we were talking about. It was an hourglass with Prime Minister Trudeau, and it was like whatever his number, Prime Minister of Canada, and the hourglass is like guy who stayed too long on the bottom. It's like and it was like Trudeau's legacy. It's like that's exactly what I said like about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. He's got all these accomplishments, but he might be sticking around so long and digging in his fingers so much that he's going to be remembered as the guy who stayed around too long. It'll take another 25 years or 30 years to really appreciate him, rather than.
Yes.
Sometimes, unfortunately, in politics, even if you did a good job, even if you don't deserve to go, even if you deserved another mandate, you don't get it.
Unfortunately, that is the case, and we've seen it time and time again.
Public mood shifts and can be fickle.
And it looks like it's going to change, but we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. Everybody seems to think they're convinced because of polls, but again, there's the silent generation of Gen Z who are silent in the sense that their voices aren't being heard. They speak loudly, but their voices aren't being heard. And I can guarantee you they're not going to be voting Conservative. I'd say the vast majority of Gen Z. The vast majority. Maybe they all vote NDP or Green. Maybe they don't vote Liberal at all. But I don't think they're going to be voting Conservative because the vast majority of Gen Z believes in DEI.
They might not vote at all.
They may abstain too. We don't know what's going to happen. And anybody who says, "Oh, it's locked in," the Conservatives are winning. We don't know that. We don't know. Exact polls were wrong the last 3 elections. So,
The worst. I only have 3 on my list that stand out really as the worst. I mean, there's a lot of bad ones, but Polyev, of course, just the overall way he just conducts himself and does business.
Period.
It's just there's just an ick factor. Then I can't. Mr. Singh, unfortunately, still want to like him. Still can't understand this strategy. I just can't.
I know. That's the troubling thing. It's like I like him. I like him as a person. I've met him. He's a very nice, charming man. And then he plays from the Conservative deck of cards. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You do realize that NDP stalwarts are kind of like, oh man, really?
He can't take a win.
Yeah. We demanded. We forced. Bro, that's not the kind of language you want to be using to begin with. And also, no, you worked in collaboration with another party. That's how politics is done.
But it's like, he just can't take a win.
No.
Right? Because if the government is not getting the credit for having done these things, what's the point of you saying you forced them? The public mood is not ready to appreciate. So if you force them to do something that the public will happily take, but is not in the mood to appreciate or give you thanks for or credit for, why would you brag about forcing them to have done something like that?
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Why would you want it to, when you share credit, you show that you can play well with others. And given that we have one party that really does not want to play well with others, again, that's a whole freaking political track. You can milk that. Every day stands up in front of, see, again, can't play with others. See, can't play with issue, you want to do these little political stunts, issue a report card. Like he was in kindergarten, tells the truth, F, plays well with others, F, shares his toys, F. There's a whole campaign with him. that you could do that. Why does nobody like him? Why does nobody want to work with him? What is it about him that makes it such that everybody says these things about him? There was a whole freaking lane. And DP is like, no, it's like, it's the terrible, bad liberals that we had to drag kicking and screaming to doing all this stuff that you don't appreciate. Wrong guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd be sitting there and it's like, you already have Pierre Poilievre throwing everything at bashing Trudeau. It's like, why pile on? He's doing the work for you.
Yeah.
It's like your battle is with the conservatives out in the West. For those seats, you're the alternate party, not the liberals in the West. Bash the freaking conservatives like the conservatives bash the liberals relentlessly, nonstop. Destroy the guy. He's taking care of the liberals with you, and he's got the biggest budget ever in history that a political party ever had to do it.
Yes.
He's doing your work. Focus, Mr. Singh. Focus.
Bro.
Your job is to keep him to a minority. If you're going to, like this, you're not going to be prime minister. You're not going to go from fourth to first. Yes, and I'm sorry to say it, yes, but your problem is Quebec. In a province that has Bill 21, unfortunately, you are a non-starter. So you need to be making your case. You need to be taking it to him. I don't understand how this party's not getting this. If you want to, you're not going to go from fourth to first because you don't have Quebec, but you can go from fourth to opposition. If you want to do that, and you can go to opposition and keep the other party to a minority, if you go after them in the ridings where the 1-2 battle is you and them, and he refuses to do that. It's like, you cannot say, I am not going to play Pierre Poilievre's game when Pierre Poilievre wants an election as soon as possible, and then say, at my first possible opportunity, I'm going to take down the government, but it's going to be on my motion. If ultimately, at the end of the day, you get an early election, which was what the other guy wants, doesn't matter if you voted for it on his motion or your motion, you gave the guy what he wanted and you danced to his game. Doesn't matter what road you take there. A poop pile just as stink by any other name is just as stinky. It's, not Shakespeare. I mean, come on, man. Mr. Singh. And the last one, I believe, on that list for me is, of course, a perennial choice for me, Melissa Landsman. Because I still cannot believe. Okay, as I keep on saying, Mr. Poilievre keeps on saying that he's a friend of Jewish Canadians. If he was a friend of Jewish Canadians, he would not make Melissa Landsman stand in front of a camera and do the things that she is doing and say the things that she is saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I will end it. Because, again, she's also a member of my rainbow community, allegedly.
Well,
still don't recognize her.
She is, but
I still don't recognize her.
No, she's kind of a turncoat. Well, look, and here's how it is. Leslyn Lewis dined with a Nazi.
And she's happy to work with her.
Yeah. Remember,
the Sun posted that caricature.
Yeah.
But she's still happy to deny Zelensky a free trade agreement because of allegedly climate change. And she, I'm pretty sure that she has no problem being interviewed by the Sun.
You know, here's the thing that they fail to understand is that when the party that they represent, when and if they assume power, they don't know that they'll be the first ones to get tossed under the bus. Like, they'll take away a woman's right to choose. They'll put an end to same-sex marriage. They'll start restricting LGBTQ rights. It'll just be one domino after another until they have everything they want, which is a theocracy.
Hmm.
They don't want a democracy. They want a theocracy. And Polyev will play along with the theocracy as long as he gets to be the man in charge. In charge.
Mm-hmm.
Master will be Stephen Harper.
Indeed.
Or Modi.
So,
I mean, pick
right.
whichever one of the IDU members you want there.
But I'm sitting there and it's like, how can you be the co-deputy leader?
Yes.
Like this, and stand on your Jewish faith as often as she does publicly, to a leader of a party that made you stay in the House of Commons on the first day of Hanukkah. Even the Jewish MPs. Yes, while he voted no to funding a Holocaust museum and a Jewish community center in Vancouver. And repeatedly goes out and says anti-WEF, anti-George Soros type stuff.
Yeah, just
how do you get to wrap yourself in your faith politically and still stand by a man who does that at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand her. I just don't.
I don't either.
All right.
Willing to sell out your community. It's willing to sell out your religion for a little bit of power. It's happened before. It's happening right now in real time in front of us. We see this. And I don't understand it. It's like power, I guess, is the ultimate aphrodisiac. I don't know, man. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? Like literally biting off your own nose to spite your face. I do not understand it. Because she seems to not recognize the fact that she'll be the first one tossed under the bus. Jewish, woman, lesbian. Their ideology, those are 3 strikes against her.
I know.
A woman who wears pants. Oh my God.
I just don't understand.
I don't either, and I never will.
Do you have anybody else that stands out as among the worst nationally?
John Rustad.
More provincially, but yeah, okay.
Well, Scott Moe,
Yeah.
John Rustad. I mean,
yeah, I have them in the on the provincial.
They're provincial, but from a national.
Yeah, they play a role on the national.
Right.
Yeah.
Polyev, of course, and the one who's disappointed me the most has been Michael Chong.
Mm.
He just continues it's like, dude, what do you sold your soul, didn't you? You sold your soul. Is that what it is? Because, man, at one point in time, you seem to be the conscience of that party. And you no longer are.
Mm-hmm.
Like Scott Aitchison, when he was running for party leader,
right.
I was like, this is the guy. I would support this man because he was saying the right things. He was an actual progressive who spoke the words I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Did I see eye to eye with him? No, I did not on everything. Nobody does. That's not possible. But I thought this might be the man to take the party back closer to the center from the far right lean that they're going into. But there's too many religious zealots in the party to allow that to happen. And I think he's trying to lean into that right now because he just...
Yep, he's made a couple of moves there. That way too. And it's like, oh, dude, no. Yep. My disappointment or my overrated was Mark McCartney.
Yes.
I mean, I know if I were Mark Kearney, I'd probably done the same thing he did.
Oh, yeah.
But from the other side of the ledger, it's like, dude, pooper, get off the pot.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Because a lot of stuff happened because of you and a lot of ink was spilled because of you. But ultimately, we don't have anything from you, one way or the other. So, so yeah, that was almost like the non-story. Like, will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? Will it? And we don't even know if he will or won't. And it's more like still like, nope, just not now. It's like, just an answer, please, please. Jeez. All right. So those are the people. Stories. For me, there were 4 big international stories this year, the big ones. 2 of them are related, of course, to that TV president, one that he won, and 2, the 34 convictions, because for a moment, for a brief little moment, it looks like we were actually going to get justice. We got that first taste. It was like, so good.
Taster's choice.
And now denied. Yeah, really. So those 2, the fact that it was just election of Palooza on the world scene. It was like 80 something elections this year through in different countries throughout the world. In Botswana, Namibia, Georgia, you name it. And not counting the snap ones that we didn't expect. Like in France, and the ones, Germany will be next year. But yeah, just so many elections. And even here, like four of them in the space of like 2 months. That was a lot. It was a lot.
I just had something come across my feed that you might be interested in. I did not know about this. This is news to me. I think it'll be news to everybody because I didn't know this was a thing. But according to this, I'll put it on the screen actually because I think this is big news. I didn't know this. I'll put it on the screen and then read it. Did you know this? Canada will assume the G7 presidency as of today. Many thanks to Justin Trudeau and the Canadian people for their unwavering support for Ukraine. We look forward to continuing close coordination, defense assistance, and increased sanctions on Russia, including on the Shadow Fleet. We are grateful to Italy for its leadership during the 2024 presidency. We welcome the decision to transfer $50 billion from Russia's frozen assets. Only by working together we can ensure lasting peace and security for all. Now, this individual is the Prime Minister of Ukraine.
Okay. What's his name?
Denis Shmyhal. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Shmyhal. Denys. Shmyhal. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that one. Yeah. Okay. Well, I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a presidency of the G7. And look, it's Canada. We're in charge this year. I guess they have a new... one country revolves each year, apparently.
Each year, exactly, yeah.
I didn't know this, though.
Just like like the EU does, or the Council of the Federation with the premiers. Right. Yeah, there's always one that chairs it or has the presidency for a year. Some of them are 2-year terms, I think, every now and then. But usually it's a 1-year term. So yeah, that hopefully, if the Prime Minister wanted to show Canadians that on the world scene, he is still, you may not value me at home, but people around the world still value me. He has a bit of a platform for that. Again, the question though is anyone listening? And right now it doesn't look like that is the case. So for the international stories, like I mentioned, the Trump wins, his 34 convictions, the fact that it was elections all around the world this year, and the last one, of course, coming in at the end of the year, the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, which changes a hell of a lot of things in the area. And I guess we can add to that one, the fifth one, the fact that there has been a ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel. Did any stick out to you, big international stories?
This one, which is just from 2 days ago. This is a shock to me. Didn't know about this. The things you learn. Putin's presidential plane visit to U.S. sparks questions. Moscow downplayed the visit of a special diplomatic flight from the Kremlin's presidential fleet to the U.S. in late December, as speculation swirls over how the new U.S. administration will handle the fraught dynamics with Russia. I'm like, what? I didn't think Russians were allowed to land in the United States of America. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova, I think that's how it's pronounced, confirmed the aircraft had traveled from Russia to the U.S., but said it was carrying another rotation of diplomats in remarks reported by Russian media. Newsweek reached out to the Russian Foreign Ministry for further comment via email and to the White House. Russia's relationship with the U.S. is at its worst point in decades and took a dive after Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Nearly 3 years into the war, nuclear rhetoric is seeping into the conflict as Washington consistently backs Kyiv. President-elect Donald Trump, now less than a month from his inauguration, has vowed to end the war in Ukraine in just a day. By what? Acquiescing to everything Putin wants. NATO officials have predicted the incoming president may try to do a deal with Russian President Vladimir Putin, with whom he has said he has a good relationship. You know who else has a good relationship with Vladimir Putin? Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
He's been talking to him for the last 2 years.
Elon Musk also has a pretty good relationship with President Xi.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons that
MAGA. Yeah.
MAGA in the United States is a little upset with tech MAGA.
Yeah. It's they're all going to stab each other in the back. It's
like they all bought a jar of that perfume. Fight. Just swam laps in it. All right. For stories on the international, the most ignored ones, I would say, intentionally, even though there's lots of news about it, we still seem to be ignoring serious news about doing anything for the climate. The fact that there was not so much the fact that there was an assassination attempt on the president-elect, but the fact that there was an assassination attempt on the president-elect and nobody is demanding some type of public investigation. Because from this particular crew who cry about everything and want everything investigated and everyone to go to jail for everything, somehow they don't want a deep probing investigation for clicks and headlines into this. Why? Somebody should report on that. Maybe. So, yeah, those are my sort of the most ignored ones. And my most overdone story was the whole thing about Biden's senility. Way too much ink on that. Do you have anything, a story that you would have liked to have seen internationally dealt with more?
Internationally dealt with more. You know, that's a good question. And I honestly don't have an answer for you because
that's okay.
There's so much that should have been dealt with that simply wasn't, that it's a little overwhelming. We're not, like, the war in Ukraine has been wiped from the front pages. And we're going on year number 3.
Yep.
We're over 1,000 days. And it's not front page news, and it should be, because
there's the whole thing that's going on with the women in Iran too, that's kind of disappeared.
And Afghanistan.
Yep.
Afghanistan, so now women can't show any flesh whatsoever. Apparently now they have to keep their blinds closed so nobody can see them. This was a story just the other day. I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. I'm not being hyperbolic. Literally, they've passed a new law where women have to keep their blinds closed so nobody can see into the house to see them. This is how far it's gone. And if you think it can't happen here, I'm telling you it absolutely can. Because Afghanistan at one point in time was one of the most progressive nations on earth when it came to women's rights and equality. In the 1970s, that was a completely different nation than what it is right now. So if you think it can't happen here, I'm telling you it absolutely can. If the guardrails are removed, if the gatekeepers are removed, you watch how quickly it happens. They will erode your rights quicker than you can imagine.
Yep, indeed.
And it will happen if you do not pay attention, which is why I keep telling people, pay attention. Inform yourself. Please get out and vote. You have no idea the harm you can do to yourself by abstaining and ignoring and just, nah, I can't handle it. I can't. You know what? I can't handle it either, but I have to. Some days you just unplug, but to permanently unplug is dangerous to democracy.
We and the other story, and this it was suggested by Kit Linda M, and I didn't know how to fit it into the international thing because she's not a politician. She's not, but the whole thing with Gisèle Pellicot
Yes.
is a bit of a trigger warning here for
A
SA.
huge trigger warning, because what this deals with is truly horrific.
Yeah.
Truly horrific.
She is a woman. Let's put it this way: when Time issued its Person of the Year,
Should have been her.
it was a premature enunciation because the verdict had not come down. Yeah, and the verdict came down, and I would have chosen her over him.
No question.
Especially considering what he's done.
Yes.
Her over him. And by the way, congrats to E. Jean Carroll for not obeying in advance. She saw it through. He tried to have all those decisions thrown out, and the judge said, no, they stand. You are an educated, civilly educated sexual abuser.
Well, I heard something the other day. I read something the other day that made me chuckle. This apparently this is true. The reason he wasn't labeled a therapist, wordplay there, in the beginning, because E. Jean Carroll couldn't determine if he prodded her with his finger or his penis because it was so small she couldn't tell if it was tell them apart. And then people are going, see, he's not a therapist because of that. I'm like, that's not the win you think it is. She couldn't tell if it was his finger or his penis because they were very tiny. And then, of course, I saw, maybe I'm body shaming Trump here. I don't know. I'm just reporting to you what I read. Stormy Daniels, who's been just kicking ass and taking names for the last few years. Somebody said he wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. She said, you're right. It was 3 inches. Like you can't put anything past her. She's too smart and too savvy, and you can't harm her. You cannot harm this woman. Nothing you can say.
She has lots of friends who are gay.
Nothing you can say or do will harm her because she's too smart for you, number one, and number two. She's like, I'm rubber and you're glue.
Yep, indeed. But Gisèle Pellicot stood up to her husband. I'm assuming ex-husband by now. Or in the process of. But apparently it has been legally being found in court beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm guessing, I'm not sure if that's the same standard in France as it is in the United States, but in court, that he did drug her
repeatedly
over a period of time and invited other men over while she was in that state. I'm sure I don't need to draw you a picture from here on. And just and she wanted everything in the trial to be completely public. Even the video. There was video of what was done. Everything public. In other words, you all need to see this. Look at it. I am going to make you look at it. Don't turn away. Look at it. And all of its depravity. She didn't care about the hit. I'm sure she, not that she didn't care, despite the hit it could take, despite that she could take to her reputation, despite all the stuff that people could say about her, all the ways that this could be spin, despite the fact that these images of her will be public forever. She did it anyway. And she won. She did it, and she won. And since then, we've been here. There's been that news article that came out that on one forum of some kind, there were about 70,000 different men giving each other tips on a Telegram. We have to say SA, but it's the other word, chat groups with up to 70,000 members. This was December 19th. This just came out. Let me see. This one's behind paywall, so I have to do this here. All right. This is from The Telegraph in the UK, I believe, but this is written by Jörg Leuken in Germany. Thousands of men are participating in chat groups in which they share suggestions of how to therapist and SA women. A German investigation has revealed the group on the instant messaging service Telegram have as many as 70,000 members who mostly communicate with one another in English and appear to come from a variety of countries. Users claim to have assaulted women in their household, including wives, partners, sisters, and mothers, and also shared instructions with others on how to do the same. Some of the chat groups also shared pictures, while others posted live videos of the assaults. In one instance, a German man said he would sedate his wife and offer her to other. I will not go on.
No, please don't. It's too much
with this article. But this is not. Oh my God, what a horrible thing! But it's this 1 in a billion thing that happened to her because she happened to meet like a super extra terrible. No. This is way more common. So whatever it is that's behind this story, this is not being reported enough. And so, yes, international activist, maybe, of the year in terms of newsmaker, but Gisèle Pélicaud definitely deserves to be on everyone's list because what she has done.
The incredible amount of bravery on her part too. When you think about it, it's like she's facing her tormentors. Yeah. I don't know what word to put in there.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And even like brave, sometimes like it's like, oh my God, when somebody does that, they were so brave, and it's like at some point even that word sounds empty. Sometimes it's like this is like beyond brave, right? This is like literally putting all of yourself out there. Like in your worst moment.
Yes.
For everyone to see willingly and being willing to accept the consequence. Like this is a bell you cannot unring.
No.
And she did it anyway.
Yeah. Bravery isn't the right term. I mean,
I don't know. There's a word for it.
That's the thing. I don't believe there is to describe the intestinal fortitude, the sheer amount of blowback that she faces from this, and said, "Screw it, I'm doing it anyway." Bravery is not the correct term. There's not a term, I think, in the English language that can apply to this. A simple word? No, there's no word that's going to apply to what it took to do what she did. There just isn't.
Yeah. And while laws in one country don't necessarily apply in others, you can bet that there are going to be people from all around the world that are going to look into this case and taking it and say, in some countries, maybe that will bring about changes in law in other countries. So this thing that she's done is not just this. This is going to reverberate and have repercussions in many nations around the world for years to come. So, global citizen of the year. I don't know what word we can do, but To me, yes. When we reported on it, I mean, I can't place myself
Mhm.
in the mind of someone who would do that to another human being. I don't get it. I don't. So I can't even begin to imagine the strength that requires. But I know it's a lot, and it's a level of strength that I don't know I would have
No,
in similar situations
I don't know
either.
that I would have either, to be
I
honest
mean,
with you.
I'd
And
like to tell myself I would,
I don't know if I
but
could. I don't know if I
would
could.
I?
I don't
Push
know.
come to shove?
Yeah,
Would I
I
want all
don't know
that
if
out
I
there?
could.
Uh,
In
yeah.
a related matter,
Mhm.
I have to share this on the screen with you. This is from Dr. Jennifer Gunter.
Okay.
Familiar with Dr. Gunter? She's
Mhm.
Canadian American. She's a gynecologist.
Mhm.
Writes for the New York Times as a column. And this is what she recently posted on her Instagram feed. One second. The Conservative Party of Canada has forced birth policies, and their
Mhm.
policies have veered more and more to the extreme since 2006. Since
Mhm.
2006, they have proposed nine forced birth bills that have all been defeated. You are
Mhm.
one bad election away from these bills reappearing, and it seems they would have broad support within the Conservative Party. In
Mhm.
fact, Canada is one bad election away from every bad political thing that is happening in America.
Mhm.
She's not wrong.
She's
And
not wrong
we
at all.
have been warning people about this for a long time now. And it is, I mean, she's a New York Times women's health columnist.
Mhm. Yeah. So, Kits and Cups, that's our look at international and national stuff. We'll still have a little bit of provincial and municipal stuff to look at, but I think we'll look at that on another show.
Yes.
But before we go, wanted to look at a couple of sort of more topics. Um, I'm talking about Canada, but not necessarily global. But in the world of business, I think some of the biggest stories this year had to do with the bringing in of a capital gains tax here in Canada. Everything having to do with tariffs coming up with
Mhm.
the president elect. But for me, still the biggest story, and also probably the most underreported and unappreciated, is the fact that we did execute that soft landing. Inflation's back down to target. Interest rates are
Mhm.
going down. We're way for all the people that are comparing us to the United States on everything like productivity and all that kind of stuff, and things are terrible. On those two metrics, we are doing way better, right? And hopefully the rewards will come as a result of that. But they're in the business world. I had those, and from the world of science, of course, we had. I almost forgot that it had happened this year, but the total eclipse that we had earlier. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
until I
last
was going
April.
back into the notes, yeah, that I was like, "Oh, yeah, that was this year."
Yeah.
Because science, that captured all our attention very well. And of course, the fact that this year we have a Canadian that picked up a Nobel Prize in physics, Geoffrey Hinton, who won the prize in physics for his foundational work on artificial intelligence. His work has led to generative AI like ChatGPT, which can now create new works like essays and images. So those were probably the two biggest achievements for Canada, or the two biggest news stories with regard to that. And I was just wondering, in terms in business and science, if you had anything, Mr. Grizzly,
Sorry, could you say that again, sir? My
from the worlds of
headset
business.
there.
Sorry, from the worlds of business or science, did you have anything that caught your eye this year?
Science, the James Webb Telescope and some of the images that have sent back
Mm,
far beyond the capabilities of the Hubble, because the Hubble's like 35 years old now, 34, 35 years old.
yeah.
And so the James Webb Telescope has sent back images that have just been unbelievable, advancing our knowledge of this universe that we reside in, and in the same token, showing us more galaxies than we ever even imagined existed. So it reminds me of the letter attached to the Voyager spaceship written by
Mm,
late President Jimmy Carter. Now, remember, Jimmy Carter was a very religious Christian man. But in that letter, he talks about there's intelligent life out there somewhere. We know this. Like you know how interesting it is. Well, he was also a scientist, right?
right.
So he was a very learned man, a very pious man, a Christian man. None of that is up for debate, but it's pretty rare for somebody who is that religious to also believe in that aspect of science, that there is intelligent life somewhere in the universe. We've not even barely explored our solar system. The Voyager space probes are out in interstellar space. They're beyond our solar system, the furthest thing we've ever sent out, and they were launched almost 50 years ago. 1977, I think, was Voyager 2, and his letter. I'm trying to find it. I had it here the other day. I don't.
Yes, because it just appeared again.
Yeah,
out of the blue. Yes,
and
I'll look
it was
for it while you chat.
fascinating. If you can find that would be great, sir. But go ahead and read it into the record if you would, if you come across it. But to hear somebody who
Got it.
you've got it, okay.
Yep.
For this letter is coming from again a Christian man who was deeply religious, but he also walked the talk. He did the things that the teachings of Christ taught us. He didn't judge. He stood up for the rainbow community since the 70s.
hmm
He did things that nobody else would do. This guy was a pioneer. He was so far ahead of his time, so far ahead of our time. And unfortunately, oftentimes, the general public is not intelligent enough to recognize when somebody is actually doing good things for us and good things for the future, because so much of our lives are based on immediate gratification.
Right.
So we couldn't recognize his genius at the time because he was just simply too smart for us.
Right.
But if you want to read that letter, sir, please, I would appreciate it if you could.
Absolutely. I will read the letter in. Statement. This Voyager spacecraft was constructed by the United States of America. We are a community of 240 million human beings among the more than 4 billion who inhabit the planet Earth. We human beings are still divided into nation states, but these states are rapidly becoming a single global civilization. We cast this message into the cosmos. It is likely to survive 1 billion years into our future, when our civilization is profoundly altered and the surface of the Earth may be vastly changed. Of the 200 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, some, perhaps many, may have inhabited planets and spacefaring civilizations. If one such civilization intercepts Voyager and can understand these recorded contents, here is our message. This is a present from a small distant world, a token of our sounds, our science, our images, our music, our thoughts, and our feelings. We are attempting to survive in our time so we may live into yours. We hope someday, having solved the problems we face, to join a community of galactic civilizations. This record represents our hope and our determination and our goodwill in a vast and awesome universe. Jimmy Carter, President of the United States of America, the White House, June 16th, 1977.
Isn't that wild?
Jeez, way ahead of his time.
Yeah, it's not often you hear, and again, he wrote that in 1977. He believed that out there in this universe, there is intelligent life. We can't be the only intelligent life in a universe so vast that we barely grasp the concept of how big it is.
Mhm.
Our own galaxy has 200 billion stars, and I think that was in 77. It's changed since that because it's been expanding, and we're finding more and more with the James Webb Telescope.
Mhm.
See how I brought it all the way back there?
Yes, I like this, but I really like this line. We hope someday, having solved the problems we face, to join a community of galactic civilizations.
Mhm.
That is some vision. Way, 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 way down the road. This is not just 10, 20, 30-year planning. He's looking
No.
way ahead. This man.
This is basically the United Federation of Planets, right?
Mhm. Pretty much, yeah. Huh, who knew? Carter was a
Yeah.
Trekkie.
I mean,
Maybe one of the original ones. Speaking about President Carter, two things that developments, unfortunate ones. The president-elect, when asked directly whether or not he would attend the state funeral, said something like, I'd rather not answer at this time or something, or I'd
Yeah.
rather not answer that. The only appropriate answer is, yes, it would be an honor and privilege to do so. I will be there.
Yeah.
Tell me what time to show up and what to wear.
Why wouldn't I don't want to answer at this time. What?
Okay. And the other one, the governor of Texas, Mr. Abbott, apparently sent a letter of condolence to Rosalind Carter.
Yeah, she's been dead for 7 years. I can't make
I'm
this
sure
up.
his expression of sympathies were extremely heartfelt.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but oh my dear.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I really cared about your husband. He was a great man. What, she's been dead for 7 years? Oh.
And then, of course, Tommy Tuberville, who was ridiculed for saying President Trump has brought back Christmas.
Oh.
You know this war on Christmas that they like to talk about?
That's never actually happened?
Well, funnily enough, somebody posted articles. Yes, this is brand new news, and he posted articles that go back to the 1800s. There's a war on Christmas.
This just in.
Literally, he posted stuff from
225 years ago.
from today right back to the 1800s. Of nobody, it's Christmas. I'm like, okay, so this is not new. Also, this same guy did the thing about nobody wants to work anymore. Posted articles every decade back to the 1800s. So we've heard this broken record many times, and it keeps skipping. Get your turntable fixed, man. Get a new stylus. Adjust your counterbalance weight, or change the damn record.
All right. Looking here through the chat, I think we found a use for beaver points. Kit Linda M say that beaver points give you good karma.
Yes. Well.
There you go. Redeem for beaver bragging rights. See, the kids always know. They always come in to save. All right, Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
All right. Oh, little thing I forgot to mention at the top of the show. Apparently, the Quebec Liberal Caucus has now joined the Ontario and the Atlantic one, publishing or letting the Prime Minister be known that they too have decided that he should go. But again, still nobody saying, I'm walking. Leave her, I'm walking. That hasn't happened yet. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Kids and Cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show, the first of the year. Fresh. So fresh. Ooh, so fresh. I slapped myself.
Well, late today, but we apologize for that. Yes. Well, there was supposed to be an earlier start, and I slept through the earlier start than what we started at.
Yes.
I slept through it. I was able to join in once I was awake enough to do so. I was up very early and went back to sleep because, anyway.
See, I the way I take it is that the tech gods just didn't want me to start without you, sir.
I think that would be I think that's the case.
It was just not acceptable that I kick off the new year without you. There we go. Hello, Mademoiselle Fox. Is that Lola or Mademoiselle Fox?
That's Mademoiselle Fox. She just touched my elbow and scared the hell out of me because I couldn't hear her.
Hello.
So wanted to wish everybody a Happy New Year.
There we go. Okay, kids and cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do. Now, if you are listening to us on ears only and would like to make sure that you do not miss an episode, thanks to the Christmas cheer spread by the Ray Girl, well, you don't have to because the Ray Girl sponsored our pod page, and our pod page is where you go, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words, to find our subscribe button. And if you click on it, boom, it can be Christmas most every day of the year because fresh beaver will be delivered right to you. At least 5 days a week. 30 minutes or it's free.
I don't even know what to say about that. I just don't know what to say.
Have a cheeky new year. Okay. And if you would like to support us in other ways, you know what? I didn't think of that at first when I called it the True North Eager Beaver, but then it's like, oh my God, it has so much potential. If
Not sure if
you
that's rain or
want,
snow.
ooh,
I
that
don't know
is
if it's
very,
rain or snow. It's not
yeah.
nice out.
Yeah, Mr.
Not
Grizzly
nice.
showing that a little bit of the weather back home here for
Yeah,
kids
it's nothing.
listening on audio.
I,
Um,
I can't
so
tell what
that's
that is.
that's the sharing and caring is part. Now, if you would like to support us, for example, um, surfing yourself on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, we would thank you so very much for doing that because right there we have 3 buttons for you. One's called like, one's called share, one's called subscribe. And well, New Year's has rung and nobody's kissed them yet. So you got to, wish them Happy New Year. So go over there and just give them a little hello and wish them the best. So if you click on them, that makes us happy. And it also helps us with the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for just being helpful sorts. We really appreciate it. And remember, whenever you're watching the show during the chat, as Kit Elaine reminds you, if you smash the button early, you don't have to remember to do it before you leave. And, some people are early smashers. Just saying. All right. Now, if you would like to help us in other ways, our stockings are still well hung by the chimney with care and will be so until about the 6th. So, if for those of you who haven't celebrated Christmas yet, if you would like to play Santa Kit and Santa Cub and leave us a little something, we would be very, very grateful for your enthusiastic expression of encouragement for our show. And you can do that by scanning the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head, which will bring you to our coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And there, if you would like to leave us a little something to say add a beaver or add a grizzly, thank you for all that you've done in the previous year. That would be absolutely fantastic. And I saw that we had a super chat donation go by, but I don't remember who it is. So whoever did
Thank you.
that, thank you so very much. Actually, if I click that, do I see it? Will it show it to me?
Do you?
Yes, Environmental Kit Environmental Coffee House.
Oh, thank you very much.
So very much. We really appreciate that. And also a big thank you. I'm don't sure if I mentioned it before, but to Kit T. Wigmore, who said, "Carry on, DAMFAM dudes. Great complimentary personalities with news and views delivered with honesty, humor, humility, and empathy. Thanks for kicking off our mornings." And thank you for joining us and for always being a source of encouragement and a positive reinforcement for us, Kit T. We really appreciate that. And let's see, Kit Wendy sent us something. So the last donation of 2024 came from Kit Wendy, who said, "Happy New Year, gents. Here's to put in 2024 in the rearview," with a emoji of a couple of beers clinking. "And all the best in 2025, fellows. Cheers to you." And lots of love being sent. So, Kits and Cubs, as I like to say, we like to be transparent with you. And since Mr. Grizzly's here, well, I can announce it while he's there because I wasn't going to announce it if he wasn't here.
I don't know what you're about to announce, so this is news to me.
I know. It's lots of fun. But yesterday, I mentioned that I had set some targets for us
Mhm.
in terms of how we wanted to do. And I knew it was an impossible target to reach. But I said, would it be possible to grow 100%
Oh,
from
well,
last
yeah,
year?
we did that.
Double. We didn't quite get there, but we
We
got
didn't?
really damn close. We got really, really, really damn close. Um,
Oh,
so
I thought you meant subscribers.
no, not subscribers. Yes, subscribers. We blew that out of the water.
Yeah. Well, we
But
just
in
we
terms,
need to, what we need to do is have a telethon episode, set goals, and try and raise enough money so that we can start to put more money into advertising to get the show more on more screens, basically. And to do that, it costs money. So we'll set ourselves a goal at some point in time in the near future and probably have like a telethon style show. I know people said, "How about a Patreon?" And I'm like, maybe we could do that. But it's getting Like, I have no more money to spend on the show right now. Like, literally, I'm going to have to beg, borrow, and steal just to pay the rent this month. So it's, always darkest before the dawn. Let's hope the dawn comes soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, kids and cubs, just wanted to know.
Sorry, I know people are tired of hearing about that. I know, but this is my life right now. So I have to talk about it sometimes because I'm the employment opportunities are few and far between right now for me. So it's just the situation and state that I'm in, and it affects my mental health, and it affects my physical health because your mental health affects the physical. So yeah, I know some people are tired of hearing that, and I'm sorry if you're tired of hearing that, but this is my life right now. This is my life right now. I hope it's not like this for the long term, but this is where I am right now. So I apologize if you're offended.
I hope as well that things get a lift up, Mr. Grizzly, because if there's somebody that certainly deserves a little good luck thrown his way here, it's you. You've definitely put in the work, so you deserve some of the good luck to come along with the rewards here.
Thank you.
But thanks to the Kits and Cubs, in terms of direct donations to support the show, we set a goal of 100%, and you've helped us reach over 66% of the way there.
Oh, wow.
So thank you so very much. And when we add, this is where I was at first, I was going, oh, well, we're not close to getting there. But I forgot to add, because now we get money from YouTube, which is also the Kits and Cubs, right? Because it's, per views and with super chat donations and all that. So when you add that, we got to nearly 84% of our goal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So we set a very, very ambitious, and I didn't announce it at the beginning of the year because I don't like to say, we need to get this much and, pump it in, I don't want to do the hard sell thing, but just in my head, is it possible without announcing this? And I said something that was impossible, clearly impossible. And we almost hit it. So, Kits and Cubs, thank you so much. You've as tiny a little corporation as we are a growth industry because I don't know how many companies grew 84% year over year.
No
but
idea.
Thanks to you, we did. Now, of course, we're still at the beginning, and numbers are relatively small, so it's possible to have these big percentage growths year over year, but still, that's pretty darn impressive, even for low numbers. This number is still extremely impressive. So thank you so much. Because of your increase in generosity last year, we were able to try our first on the road pubcast, and Mr. Grizzly, I wasn't able to be there, but started doing some remote things when he went to the Canadian Alliance to End Hopelessness event.
Homelessness, not hopelessness. Homelessness.
No, not hopelessness, homelessness. And so, maybe we'll have more one-on-one interviews with the person in the room and stuff like that. We might be able to
we have all the tech to do that now. Both of us have the tech to go 100% mobile. So
yeah, maybe we'll have a chance to do a pubcast in 2 different cities next summer rather than just one or something. But thanks to your support, there's more things that we could do. It gives us more options, and we are so grateful. Hopefully, your expressions of encouragement will continue into the new year, and hopefully we will be delivering to you product that is worthy of it, as good or better than we have done this year. So, as we said, we would always be transparent with you as to how we are doing and what it is, and that includes our financial stuff. Even though we are technically a private corporation, we believe in responsibility to our transparency with our stakeholders, and that would be you, because you spend your time on the show and you contribute to us not only financially but with your attention, and we believe that that deserves to be, you deserve to be treated with respect. And that is being honest about what it is that you do to support us as well. So thank you very much We are very grateful and looking forward to a bright and informative 2025, despite the fact that we know there's going to be a lot of really weird news coming on, and a lot of it's going to probably be a little darker, but we will be your emotional support Canadians and your little ray of sunshine, hopefully.
Well,
Maybe not
this is
every day a
from
ray of sunshine, but
Uncover the News. Uncover the News just sent me this. Just recently, this like 10:48 a.m. Trump posted this on his social. When I said that criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media. But it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Our hearts are with all of the innocent victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers of the New Orleans Police Department. That's a terrible Trump imitation on my part. The Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil.
Mhm.
So he has to get in there with a crime rate like we've never seen before, never before.
Well, and it's a lie, because in 2022, the violent crime rate in the U.S. was 380.7 per 100,000 people, a decrease for the second year in a row. However, robbery was an exception, and there's more data here based on USA Facts. I think this is relatively recent. I'm looking for a publication date here, but it's 2024 current state of the union U.S. crime and police data, and it's just like violent crime is down.
Right across
All the things that he's talking about, the United States is, it's going up like never before and whatnot. It's like it's literally doing the opposite of what he's claiming it is. The numbers don't matter, facts don't matter, the data doesn't matter. It's whatever reality that he is creating. The reality that he's asking you to buy is reality that he is creating. It is not tethered to any observable reality. And on the odd occasions where you get the broken clock syndrome, where whatever he's doing is tethered to an observable reality, chances are he's reaching the wrong conclusions or blaming the wrong people or putting it in the wrong context, but all of it, he's creating his own reality and expecting you to buy into it. That's why I keep on saying to the premier, stop validating the damn premise.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's BS. He's telling people that crime has been up like never before, and it's violent crime gone down for the most recent data 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it's been going down for a while now. So again, and you have to understand too that the population has increased. So violent crime goes down when the population increases. That's a good thing. But far be it from him to actually speak the truth about anything that's grounded in fact or reality. It's the reality distortion factor around Trump. He just says what he wants and believes it and convinces himself that it's real. He's done so much as to say, I'm a billionaire. And they go, but are you actually? He goes, well, I wake up and if I feel like a billionaire, I just say that I'm a billionaire and I'm a billionaire. I'm like, oh, I'm president of the universe. I just willed that into power.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Grizzly, before we go, I can actually send it to you. There's a graph here.
Oh, that shows. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really good. This is from a site that is called Statista, which is one of the better sites that you can go for that type of stuff. It's a reported violent crime rate in the United States from 1990 to 2023. And if you look at 1990, around 1992-ish, no, 1991, it hit a peak when Mr. Grizzly is able to put it up. And the crime rate was 752.8 per 100,000 of the population. And data for 2023 is 363.8. So it's nearly halved.
Yeah. I'm just going to blow it up so we can see it better here. From 1990 to 2023. Wow. Wait till you see this graphic. And it's a functional graphic, so I can show you different timelines on it as 1992. Let's go down to 2003. And it's just been steadily dropping for decades. There's a bit of a peak in 2016. That's when Trump came to power.
Yeah.
and then 20, and then went up, and it dropped again in
But if
23.
you look, since about 2011, it's been in a similar range. It's been in a 361 to about 390 range. It's going up and down, but right now it's actually going down.
Yeah.
Within that range.
At a rate never
So the
seen
crime rate
before,
has actually
so-
been, yeah, it's been a constant rate for about the last 13 years, not really better or worse in any statistically significant manner, but it's never seen before. When back in 1991, it was nearly double.
Yes. Yeah.
He just makes
Never
it
seen
up.
before. He just pulls
makes
it out of his arse.
All right. So, hey, there we go. In our sign off, a little actual media and political literacy. And I bet if you did comparative numbers in Canada, based on what PP's saying, you'd probably find the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Take a look for yourself. Do your own research. All right. So thank you so much for all your contributions, because democracy is something that you do. You know what? Technically, I know the holidays are technically officially over now the 2nd, but as far as I'm concerned, we're still in the holidays till the following Monday. So ease in to 2025. Trust me, stuff is going to come at us fast and furious enough this year. Enjoy the opening credits. Sit back and relax for a while, because this may be the only chance you get to breathe for a while. So yeah, just relax. Don't be too eager to get 2025 started, because it's waiting for us around the corner. Mr. Grizzly, I guess that kind of tubs as words of wisdom as well as democracy, something that you do. But and of course, remember, the giving season technically is over, but there's great need in January. So whatever you can do, just be a good neighbor. Mr. Grizzly.
Exactly. I'm sorry?
Any words of wisdom?
Oh, words of wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah,
As we
right.
go forward into this new year, and many people will say, "New year, new me." I sincerely hope, if that is your case, that you are able to pull off a new you in the new year. I really genuinely do. So, many folks will. It's a thing known as January joiners. At your gym, people join in January because new me, I'm going to work out, and usually by week number 3, that numbers drop way off. But if you actually endeavor to do this, it is my sincere hope that you are able to follow through and create the new you want to be. And I genuinely mean that.
And here's the thing: even if you drop off after week 3,
it's okay.
Rejoin.
You can always go back.
Go back. Don't let the fact that you stopped for week 2 say, "Oh, well, then it's all done." It's not all done unless you decide it's done. Just go back.
Exactly.
Never quit going back.
It's not. There's. How often do I say it? I don't like the word failure, because everything is a teaching moment. You didn't fail. You just learned that it wasn't going to work that way for you. Find another way to make it work. I don't like the word failure, because it sounds so final when it never is.
Yep. It's not like somebody's
standing.
standing.
Relationship doesn't work out. It's not a failure. It wasn't meant to work out. You can move on to something else. I do not like the word failure, because it has such a negative connotation, and it's so defeatist, and it's so final in its statement, and it just detracts from the future that you could hold for yourself if you just move on.
Absolutely. So yeah, just keep at it. Just keep at it. There's nobody standing over your shoulder with the clipboard going, "You didn't do it."
Exactly.
Be gentle with yourself. If you need a couple of days, you take a couple of days. If you need a week, life throws you a curveball, you need to take a month off, that's fine. Just go back.
Jay, instead of joining a gym, you can come to my place and I'll let you chop wood for free.
There you go.
Steal a line from Bill Nighy, Billy Mack, the character of Billy Mack in Love Actually. Kids, this is your Uncle Bill here. Don't buy drugs. Become a pop star and they give you them for free. But don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. All right, Mr. Grizzly, please cue the cock. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
I do have a quick Easter egg for
Right.
you that I think you'll enjoy, sir. Because we did talk about this gentleman earlier in the show.
Okay.
Because he has no more F's to give. This is from Charlie
Ooh.
on Blue Sky. Dear Donald, thanks for including us in your deranged Christmas message. Being Canadian means free health care and limiting access to assault weapons. In your 51st state, our kids would get shot at school and CEOs would be shot for denying health care. So no, now piss off, your northern neighbor.
I love it. I love it
No
a
more
lot.
F's to give. None.
No more F's to give. That's great. It's great. Okay, Kids and Cubs, also for those of you who watched the New Year's Eve Classic, unfortunately, even though it was a close game until the third period, it would appear that Team Canada did ultimately lose to Team
I
United
didn't
States
see the game.
4-1. Yeah. So Team Canada finishes second in the pool, and they will be facing Czech Republic in the first round of the playoffs. And that match is scheduled for Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you tune into that. And we have news of a Canadian who has made us proud in the sports field. Just before the end of the year, got one result in. But we have a cross-country skier named Catherine Stewart Jones, who had the best placing of her career. She's from Chelsea, and she delivered a standout performance in stage 3 of the Tour de Ski, tying for 4th place in the 20-kilometer interval start free race. That is a huge result in cross-country skis. I mean, it's just one short of the podium, which, you turns around and you go, oh, my God, she was so close. That would have been so great. But still, that's a career best result for her. I think probably by far, if I'm not mistaken. And she was 27 seconds behind the leader, just 7 seconds out of third place, out of 20 kilometers, and in a race that had 59 people registered. So sometimes the field in cross-country ski can even go over the 100. So a good-sized field and 4th place, one of the best results, like I said, the best result for her career. She goes, I think there's always an element of luck in racing, and luck hasn't been on my side. Today, though, it felt like everything, luck, fitness, and mental focus came together. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really stoked. So she had often come close to a top 10, but she had never finished higher than 18th in the last 2 seasons. She just picked up a 4th.
Cool.
Boom. And I can't start off the new year without at least one dad joke. So,
okay,
here it is. Let me just say this. Nothing tops a plain pizza.
That was so bad it took me a minute to register. Wow.
I know that's bad, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's
terrible.
Have a beaverific start to your 2025, Kids and Cubs, and we'll see you tomorrow at our regular time.
I don't even know what to say.
I love your reactions to the dad jokes. I just love them. They're great.
I'll see you.